Okay, are we ready for a little precipitation and participation? All right, let's talk about precip, or not. We're getting precip or not all the time. Depends on which year it is, what month it is, what part of the country you're in. But let's take a look at that. So we being on the West Coast, we have things called atmospheric rivers that come across from Hawaii. The Pacific carry tons and tons and tons of moisture. They are about, also the weatherman calls them Pineapple Express movements. They're about 250 miles wide and about 1 mile high. And they typically hit, the West Coast here, West Coast of California. I guess we only have one coast of California, right? I guess when the big one hits, we're going to have two West Coasts. Some guys, you people in Sacramento will have waterfront property. And this sometimes, results in 20 to 50% of an annual rainfall. So there was a big superstorm back in 2010, an atmospheric river that came across the Pacific to California, 5 days long. And this is a little short video of it. Here's the counter. So this is the 17th, 18th, 19th of December, 20th of December, 21st, 22nd. And here's Hawaii right here. And I'm going to move over here. Okay. And it picks up this moisture and pulls it all the way across the Pacific into California. And most of it, as you can see, is hitting Southern California. It would be nice if we could hold that water, but what do we have in what do we have in Northern California, typically that we don't have very much of in Southern California? What was that? Reservoirs, thank you. That was the right answer. So unfortunately, we can't hold much of that. That's why there's some bills out to kind of make more reservoirs. But unfortunately, it comes in big, huge blasts and sometimes doesn't help us much. But because of the moisture that was coming across, we got 26 inches of rain in coastal California that year, and that resulted in 17 feet of snow in the Sierra Nevada. Huge amounts of moisture come across, and you probably have been here for some of those atmospheric rivers. And they're very impressive. So we're going to move into major storms, and the hurricanes have been increasing very slightly, but they've still been increasing. This is from the 1850s, from the Industrial Revolution on to present day, the 2000s. And so the red line is the average number of average percent making landfall that were over Category 3. So increasing in Category 3, and I'm going to show you a different. Okay, so last year, in 2017, we had several different Category 5 hurricanes. There was Harvey that hit Houston. There was Irma that was in that same region. There was Irma, and then right behind it was Jose, Category 4, coming up into Florida. And then Maria, coming right after that. So all these increases in Category 5 hurricanes caused huge amounts of damage in the many hundreds of billions of dollars. And also not only the Category 5 hurricanes, but also the intensity of the hurricane. This was the strongest hurricane ever recorded in the Western Hemisphere in 2015. 200 plus mile an hour sustained winds, up to 235 mile an hour gusts. That was along the Mexican coast, just below California there. So they're getting worse, they're getting more powerful, they're producing huge amounts of damage. And here's another track from the 1800s for all tropical storms in the blue, increasing from 1860 to 2000. All hurricanes, again, it's not a lot of increase, but it is increasing now. And the major hurricanes here. So again, we've been measuring this stuff all the way from ship's logs and starting in about 1900 from radio communication on ships, and then from 1940s, aircraft observations, radar tracking, and then now we have satellite tracking. So let's go to the other extreme, and that is when the precipitation stops, and stops for a long time, sometimes many months or many years. We were in a 5-year drought here not long ago. And you can see this is the U.S. Drought Monitor from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And you can see that the country is doing pretty well except for the West Coast. We get hit with a lot of these droughts. And if you look closely, this is California. So we have these different levels of intensity: abnormally dry, moderate drought, severe drought, extreme drought. And I was told that with this particular drought that we recently experienced, they had to make a new category of drought, the D4 exceptional drought category, for the majority of California during that time. It's getting worse. Okay, April 1st, to measure precipitation and to measure snowpack, April 1st, since 1941, the Department of Water Resources goes up to a specific place up in the Sierra Nevada, and they measure the snowpack. They take a coring device like this, drive it through the snow to the ground, and in 2014, this is where the snow level was in 2014. This was, in the middle of our 5-year, 6-year drought. In 2015, it was right there. In other words, no snow at all. I think there was the first time since 1941 that they had no snow accumulated and nothing measured. There's Jerry Brown. There's a person from the Department of Water Resources right there. So that's 2015. If you look over here, here's the snow drought and the snow composition relative to normal. That's the main line is normal. So the snowpack was going down, down. 2015, that's right here, down. 2016, boom, 123% of normal. In 2017, this is up in the Sierra. Mammoth Ski Resort was almost, completely covered. That was 183% of normal. So you get these extremes, fluctuating extremes from no snow to extreme snow, no precipitation with a drought to extreme precipitation with atmospheric rivers coming in. So this is what we're experiencing, extremes of all kinds. Because of the extreme droughts that we've had, the farmers in the San Joaquin Valley that produce a lot of our agriculture have been pumping more groundwater out of the San Joaquin Valley. And the San Joaquin Valley floor has been sinking about 2 inches per month because of the extended drought when they've been pumping that out. So here's a little picture to show you that because of the sustained pumping, this is where the land was in 1925. Here's where the land was in 1955. Here's where the land was in 1977. That's 28 feet of what we call subsidence or sinking. Because of the water that they're sucking out of these geologic formations, the land sinks down. And it's causing the aqueduct to crack, and they have had to repair those. And so right now it's going down about 1 foot per year in some of those areas. Huge problem in California. This is a real guy down here. This is not a little toy figure. This is a real telephone pole. So it's covered about 5,200 square miles, and it's not everywhere. These are the areas that it's mostly affecting right along the I-5 corridor down in the San Joaquin Valley. Here's Fresno, and it's most of these areas where they're irrigating the agricultural crops. That's where they're sucking up most of it. Okay, as we get to the extreme droughts, we also have relative humidity is going way down. Everything is becoming tinder dry, and when that happens, you get a lightning strike, or you get some stupid person that's lighting a fire on purpose, and you get these massive fires. This is a picture of the interactive wildfire tracker from Climate Central. You can look this up. It's a great tool. This was the way it looked in August of 2016. You have all of these fires in California and the West Coast. A lot of fires here, but what you didn't probably see was all the fires in Alaska at the same time. And this wildfire tracker is really neat. You can just click on one of those little individual fire symbols, and it'll give you all of the information about that fire, what the acreage was, how much this contained, how many people died, how many structures were burned. It's a really neat tool. Just go to climatecentral.org, and you can do that. So compare that. This is August 2016. The next picture is, oh my God, I just realized. Okay, very good. This is the picture from August 2018. And we've got a lot of fires in California, not very many fires up in Alaska, but we're still on fire here. And this is a picture a couple of weeks ago of the fires that are throughout the country, everywhere, especially in the West. And here we have an increase in the number of fires that's happening in the United States, especially in the West, from 1970 all the way up to 2010. And you probably saw on the news in October of last year, we had the Napa and Sonoma complex fires, just wiped out huge neighborhoods. This is the Coffey Park area. This is the before picture, and this is the after picture. There's the park right there, and all those houses were. That was the same. The house right here is that house right there. So and now with the Mendocino complex fire, that has been and still is the largest fire ever recorded in California, and it's still, as of today, it's only 98% contained. That's 460,000 acres, 700 square miles of area was burned. And this is a picture, and like a satellite image, of the smoke and the particulate material that has crossed the entire country all the way over to the East Coast. And I've seen pictures on the news where in New York, they look up and it's all smoke from the fires in the West. Pretty amazing. And after you burn all the vegetation, you've got nothing to protect all of the rainfall that comes. And as a result, you get mudslides and just wiping out huge communities with the mudslides as well. So disaster upon disaster. SLR. It's not single lens reflex camera. It's what? Anybody? Sea level rise. Thank you. Okay. Sea level rise. We're going to have a whole lecture or two on sea level rise and associated processes happening in the ocean, with the oceans. And I'll probably be doing that, and Dana will take a little bit of that as well. So where should we go from here? Let's go to Paris. I'd like to, but I'm not going there. But Paris in 2015 was the site of the Paris Climate Accord that President Obama initiated. He was the lead on that with all of the other countries of the world. In 2016, the Climate Accord was confirmed and ratified with 194 countries in the world signing off. We were the lead country. And now, as you know, our administration is pulling out of the Climate Accord. And however, so many other countries, I mean, the other 193 countries are on it. Nobody else is pulling out. And we'll have a whole section on the Paris Climate Accord and issues associated with the world working. So many corporations, cities, towns, governments, businesses, they're all falling in line to follow the Paris Climate Accord's recommendations for how to reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So there's bad news and there's some good news. So we can hope that that will continue. So the future, what's the future going to hold? Let's see, what do we have? Global solutions. There's lots of solutions out there. I'll be giving one of the lectures. The whole lecture will be alternative energy uses and what are some of the solutions that we can use to solve this problem, both short-term and long-term. We have wind as an alternative energy source. We have solar. There's geothermal sources. There's currents, tidal sources, waves, hydro sources, hydrogen fuel cells, and ocean thermal energy conversion. So there'll be a couple of lectures on different alternative energy solutions and also other types of geoengineering types of solutions that we have. So coming back to the Global Climate Action Summit, which is happening next week in San Francisco, they have lots of those, so I urge you to look that up and maybe go down there and participate or visit one of those activities. And there it is, globalclimateactionsummit.org, if you want to look it up. So I'm going to give you a little quote from the Lorax, Dr. Seuss. You all remember the truffula trees that they were chopping down? Well, he was way ahead of his time. He knew they shouldn't be chopping down those trees. So, quote, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So we are the only stewards of this earth. It's our responsibility, and it's your responsibility to address this problem for all of our children and for all of the future generations. So, again, it's real, it's us, it's bad, but we can solve it if we all work together. Be true to your conscience and vote in all local, state, and national elections. And the bottom line, we've been doing a lot of research. The thousands and thousands of scientists around the world have been working on this, and they have finally found proof of global warming. And there it is, 18th century to the present. What can I say? Thank you very much. That's it.